You're listening to the Restoration Podcast, conversations of hope and healing. Join us as we talk about subjects dealing with ministry, faith, everyday life, and other hot topics. Our prayer is that these conversations bring encouragement to your life. I figured it's kind of graduation season, and so I thought maybe we'd share our graduating stories.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
Pastor Scott, is this your biggest group of graduating seniors in the youth group since you've been here or no? Has it been about the same every year?
So graduating seniors, it's been about almost the same every year. But this is the first year of consistent attending graduating seniors.
So, like, you've had about the same amount, but the percentage of those that are consistently attending has been lower in the past.
Yes.
So this year, it's most of them that are graduating are consistent attenders.
Yes, and this will be the largest senior dinner we've done since I've been here.
Okay. Are all of them leaving?
A big majority. But, I mean, the farthest someone's moving away is 2 hours.
So, with that said, high school or college, what are some memorable things that happened when y'all graduated? I'll start, sure. So, I graduated in high school in 2012, which, first of all, when we saw that number, we were like, that's so far away. That's never going to get here. That sounds so weird. That's so in the future. And now it's like, that was a long time ago.
There's kids graduating in 2031.
I know. They say it already.
They said the world was going to end in 2012.
They did. And in
Because of
06, yeah,
calendar.
and 99. I've seen three of those already. But anyway, 2012, mind you, my graduating class was probably bigger than both of y'all's. There was like 500 or 600.
Okay,
I graduated in
double.
1200.
Whatever. And
Just kidding.
and so
Just me and my brother.
what's funny, this is really pitiful, but they gave the option of the valedictorian. You know what that is? You were homeschooled. You know what a valedictorian is?
Yes, I know what that is.
Okay.
I was the valedictorian.
Yeah,
me and my brother.
So they gave the option, you can give a speech or you don't have to, okay? If I'm remembering correctly. And our valedictorian opted not to. So they held
Lame.
auditions. They said, hey, do you want to be the one to speak at graduation?
Mhm.
If you do, sign up and then present in front of or whatever. And so they had that, and then they also needed a student to do a prayer. 2 prayers, the one before and the one after, I think. Anyway, I really wanted to do the speech, like really bad. And I think I did audition for it, but then I had a friend. His name was Emmanuel. I said, hey, are you going to audition for the speech? He's like, no, not really. I said, you should do it. I said, I don't want to. And he's like, fine, I'll do it. And he's the one that got the speech. And then I was stuck with the prayer, which, whatever, that was an honor. But, so
You don't make that seem
Darn.
like that was an honor.
So, here he is giving his speech, and I'm just like, ugh. And so, but the cool part was we had to graduate at the University of Houston. They had a facility we had to use because we're so big, the whole school district.
Fancy.
So there were 4 high schools: Pasadena, South Houston, Rayburn, Memorial. 5 high schools in my district, and so the school district just rented that facility for a whole day, and so we each had our time to go. Anyway, the story's not that great, but whatever. So
yeah, I'm super intrigued.
we sat on the floor, but the cool part, I'm getting there. The cool part was the school board was on the platform with admin, and since I was doing the prayer, I actually got to sit up there the whole time and not with everyone else. So
You weren't a peon?
no, and I wasn't valedictorian either, but I still got to sit on the platform. So that was exciting. And then my pastors came to
Special.
my graduation, so that meant a lot. That was really meaningful that they came.
Yeah.
So yeah,
When I graduated high school, I was homeschooled. I had the opportunity.
was it in the living room or?
It was an online school.
Oh, okay.
So I had the opportunity to go to a graduation with all the other kids that were online graduates. But I went to summer camp instead.
So spiritual. So
'Cause
does your diploma count?
I don't know, maybe.
Is it a
It
diploma
might
or
not
what is
even be in existence. I don't physically
You
own
don't have a
a
physical
high school diploma.
Mm.
But
So did
I
you really
graduated.
graduate?
I mean, I did.
Should we be even paying you because
Hmm.
you don't have the?
You know, for a long time, that was like one of my biggest fears, that a job that I really wanted was going to be like, we need your high school diploma.
And you're like, I don't have one.
And I'd be like, look, man, I am way smarter than my brother. And he actually has his
He has an
diploma,
actual diploma.
but it's because his wife asked the school and kept on them about getting it to him. So that's why he got his. I haven't needed it, so I really haven't cared.
Hannah graduated high school in what year?
I graduated in 2020. It was wild.
Yeah, so you probably had the craziest.
Yeah. So for me, Graduation. First off, our last day of school was on May 13th. We didn't know it was going to be the last time or whatever, you know. Um, so that was a weird feeling. And during COVID, we had to, like, we still had to do school and stuff, like online if you were doing, like, college courses. But the high school courses were just kind of do it if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
That's how normal.
Optional.
Yeah. Yeah.
and so
Do it if you want.
some of my classes I passed. I mean, I would have passed them regardless, but it was just a pass or fail for them. Like even one of my college classes, it was a give me, and so I didn't have to do anything after that. So I got free college credit basically. For actual graduation day, we didn't have a ceremony. Some places like went to a football field or whatever. My graduation was online.
Online.
And they had like a weird slideshow with all of our names, and we were supposed to submit a quote.
So was it like a live stream event?
Yes, we were supposed to submit a quote. I submitted a quote, but it was they put some random quote that
wasn't
I
what
didn't
you
like.
gave?
Yeah. Even my picture
wasn't
wasn't the
you?
one I submitted.
Oh, was it not of you?
It was me.
Okay, I was gonna say that'd be funny if it wasn't you.
King, and it's a picture of Steve.
I was like, how did they get that picture? It was kind of weird, but and then graduated from Evangel in 23, and I actually got to walk.
You
for
got to
that,
walk for
and
that.
So that was
So
cool.
you graduated high school in 2020?
Yes.
So Tori's brother Tyler graduated from Evangel in 2020,
Mhm.
and they came to stay with us in Missouri,
Yeah.
and so we all watched the ceremony. It was really sad. 'Cause, like he was in his cap and gown, but like there was 4 of us.
I graduated high school in 2014, a year ahead of time. I graduated college in 2019.
2019. So you avoided all the stuff.
Yes, I
We did
was
too, but
scotch free.
Didn't they get to walk though in 2021?
they invited him back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like it was just really like they did a great job putting it together.
Yeah.
Like the slideshow was nice
Mhm.
and all that, but it was just sad because there was just 4 people there, us in the living room, and we made
Yes.
signs and like cheered
So-
him on.
So for art, so what my family really made it special for me. First of all, the senior parents, there's this place in Sioux City where it's in Morningside. It's called Cruising the Loop.
Hmm.
And so the senior parents got together and said, we're going to cruise the loop.
Mhm.
And so there were a bunch of cars, just kind of like a parade almost.
They're reliving their glory days, cruising the loop
Cruise
with
the
their
loop.
kids.
And so, like, we sat in the back of my parents' car, and we're
Uh-huh.
basically, it's just a parade, so we're just waving at people. And then we had, like, my graduation celebration in the
Uh-huh.
garage. We watched it online on a projector.
It's so sad. High school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, we did a similar thing with Tyler, Tori's brother. We did this thing where we made signs, and we wanted to write more than just "Go Tyler, congrats." And so I said, "Well, let's write a bunch of his favorite like inside joke stories." So we wrote like all these quotes that no one would understand, and it was really we made it as special as we could, but it was really sad. We put up stuff and like signs or whatever and balloons, and he was in his cap and gown.
So time out. Help me understand something.
Yeah,
You watched a live stream that he wasn't at. He was in the living room with you.
correct.
Okay.
And we had him in a special chair. Like it's just
Okay.
really
I
pitiful.
thought it was like he was there, but you guys had to watch
No, no,
live
no, no,
'cause of
no.
COVID.
no
And
one
I
was,
was like,
there.
That's kind of lame. You guys made all these signs and he couldn't even see them.
No one was there.
Now it
Yeah,
makes more
yeah.
sense.
I didn't explain that well. Yeah. So, but that happened. And I'm like, man, it's made me thankful for our whatever we had when
Yeah.
we graduated. When we graduated from Evangel, it was cool too. But we were leaving for a European tour with the concert orchestra, and so we had to like hurry. This is true. This is a true story. Our professor in charge of the orchestra, the way sometimes we'll get like an allowance for meals, but if you were late, like if you said, "Hey, call time 7:30, we got to leave this church at 7:30 because we got to drive to
Mhm.
Toledo, Ohio, or something." I don't know what made me think of Toledo, but if you showed up late, he had a formula. So if you're like 10 minutes, he would take away from your allowance, from your meal money, and so
What a savage.
so we graduated,
Facts.
and Johnny and Angie came, and my parents were there, and so
Mhm.
after graduation, we went to eat or whatever. And I was like, we have rehearsal, but I think he'll understand because we're graduating. It's a big life event. Nope, we got there, and he took off from our allowance because we graduated and we were with family that we don't.
How much did you usually get for an allowance?
I don't remember, but they calculated like, 7 for breakfast, 10 for lunch.
So this is basically per diem.
yeah. And so, but yeah, he would calculate. He would charge you. I may not be remembering. It was either he took away from it or he charged you when you arrived late. And so there was one stop we made where he got late, and I was president, and I said, "Well, pay up, man." And so there's a
I bet he
picture.
laughed really hard at that joke.
He did. No, he didn't. But anyway, but yeah, graduation season. So like, it's crazy to me when I see this come up. Like the other thing I wanted to say was graduation parties are a huge thing here in the Midwest.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
They were not this big back home.
When I
Were
was
they
in
big in
high s-
Oklahoma or no?
When I was in high school, I honestly, truthfully cannot remember any of my friends that did a graduation party. I remember, like, I'll say it this way: the kids that were their parents were like stupid wealthy. Those were the kids that got graduation parties. All of us just did like a let's go hang out and stuff like that. Like
Let's
it
do a
wasn't.
cruise in the loop. What was it called?
Yeah, it was like we hung out, but like I move up here and I become a youth pastor, and it's like here's
Dude.
my graduation party
Oh,
invite here, and
I
I'm like,
mean,
I'm
they
like,
have
Warrant.
this is a big
dude,
thing here.
photo shoots and the invite cards, and then like all the families, like you said, only the stupid wealthy ones had nice parties. All the families here have really big,
It's a big deal here.
nice parties, and
Mhm.
I was like, what the heck? Because that we weren't used to that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For us and our family, when anybody graduated high school, we always just went to a nice dinner as a family. We never did
Yeah.
like graduation parties or made it a super big deal. We never really like did senior pictures. I had a friend when I was in high school that was like getting into photography and she's like, "Oh, do your pictures for free." So I let
Oh,
her
I didn't do those either.
I let her
We were
do
too poor.
Yeah, well it was like super big when I was in high school to
It was for us too.
post
But we
your,
just couldn't.
your senior Sunday selfie or
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And so I just remember she was like, "Oh, I'll take your senior pictures for you," and I was like, "All right, cool." And then it was this is something it's super random, but just super funny to me. The picture that she took for my senior Sunday on my cell phone on my iPod Touch that was terrible and grainy
Yeah.
got like 80, 90 likes on Instagram. The professional picture that she took with a professional camera
Uh-huh.
got like 15. I was like, so the crappy one that has not a good quality got way more, and it to this day it's something I randomly think about, and I'm like, that still doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
The nicer picture got less likes.
Well, the other thing about graduation season, at least at a church setting, is there's a graduation Sunday. At the time of this, it hasn't happened yet, and we incorporate students. That was the thing I did at my church too, and it was funny because I invited a friend who was a Christian to our church,
Mhm.
and since it's a church and there's only like less than 20 or whatever, they have a little more time. They read like your plans. Oh, so and so's going to whatever, and they're going to study this. So when my friend filled that out, he put way too much detail. He's like, Miss Wright, thank you so much for all the memories in choir. And we're like, who is that? No one knows who that is. And then when he walked down, two people were like, they were confused. Like, does he go there? Does he? You don't even go here. Like
Yeah.
when he walked down. But
The
anyway,
church I grew up in,
yeah,
they for senior Sunday they used to give really nice study Bibles.
yeah.
Mm.
And then they had kids coming out of the woodworks to get their parents would be like, "Oh, my kid
Mhm.
is coming to senior stuff. He wants a Bible, blah blah." But really, the parents just wanted the Bible.
They want the
And
Bible.
so they stopped giving out nice. So the year I graduated, I got which I use. I'm thankful for. It's my favorite Bible I own, but it's an NLT, just a plain NLT Bible, and it's not a study Bible. But it's the Bible that brought me through college. But it's just funny to me. It was like the year I was like, I'm gonna get a nice study Bible. I get there and they're like, here's your NIV.
I changed it.
Yeah.
We're
So
gonna say something.
did you either of you guys have grad parties then or no?
I had one for high school. It was
Yeah.
a really humble, a lot of church people and a few friends.
Yeah.
I mean, for college, like after the graduation ceremony, we all went to like this church, the school I was a part of. They always did like it was the easiest way to do a grad party. They would just they catered in like 10 different places for this thing. And if you did, and you bought tickets ahead of time, and then you would go eat and it was basically a bunch of my classmates, my family and friends, and a lot of the pastoral staff will go there, the teaching staff for it. But I would say that's the closest thing I ever got to a graduation.
Did you have parties, Hannah?
So my party we had to delay until August.
Because of COVID, right?
Yeah, and so, we did it here, and
We're all 6 feet apart and wearing masks.
no, but like
Stupid.
at that point it was kind of
More casual.
yeah,
letting up.
but also some people still wore masks and stuff. But it was really good to just be able to celebrate with other people. We did like an ice cream bar, and then my aunt Carla made some desserts too. So it was a fun time.
Here's the last thing, last can I open here. But I was a teacher in a small town, And so their graduating class had like my first year there were 60 seniors. They're like, "This is the biggest class we've ever had." And I'm like, "What?" And so then when it was time for graduation, because the band plays, I was like, "This will be quick, Tori. It's only 60." Uh, no, they had a senior slideshow. Every single senior had like, you saw the baby picture, the kindergarten picture. They
Yeah.
went all the way through to the hobbies, and I'm like, is this really necessary? Like, it was. I don't remember how long, but it was too long. Is the answer. We were there forever, and then they acknowledged every senior, their plans, and I'm like, what? And then after
Small
I left,
town.
they added the band would play a feature song, and they play "Pomp and Circumstance." Right, that's the graduation song. I don't know if you know what that is.
Oh no, I didn't.
And so then after they added like a thing for veterans, a salute, and so they're like, okay, when you hear your theme song, stand. I'm like, oh my gosh, what else are they going to add to this ceremony? But because when I graduated, like I said, there was like 500 of us, but I don't remember. They didn't do a senior slideshow. Like we would have been there all night, but that was just kind of funny. But
I think for me, the graduation, because I was homeschooled and because I didn't go to my actual graduation in high school, the graduation that meant the most to me was when I finished Rhema. And I remember the night
your
was
Bible
over.
college,
Yeah,
Rhema.
yes, Bible college, Rhema. I sat on the couch that night. I held my diploma in my hand and I opened it. And I remember I was like, man, I was like, all those years ago when I felt the Lord move on my heart to tell me that I was going to go here, and I finally did it. I failed my first year because of different reasons, being a bum, and I came back and I finished, and I was like, man, this is, and it to this day, top 5 probably most proudest moments of my life for myself was looking down and seeing that diploma and just thinking to myself, man, I did it.
You did it. At
Just
least you
think
get.
of
No.
just think of the timing though too, because of that, like you got to meet your wife.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Come
Um,
on.
She's pretty great.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I remember my college graduation just being so thankful to be able to do that, and I had several people drive from all over to come
Means
see
a lot,
me.
doesn't it?
Yeah,
When people go.
yeah, and so it was really fun. We got to go to we had like a vacation house or something like
Yeah.
that we went to, in Branson, and that was fun to just celebrate and just take it all in. You know.
Yeah. It goes by pretty quick. but
Yeah.
Before we go, each of us just share your best piece of advice for graduates, whether it's a high school graduate or college graduate. What do you got?
Can I tell a funny story?
Yeah, do that.
So you know how you get recognized at church. You know they give you a
Yeah.
Bible for your senior Sunday. Well, we had this one kid. His name was Kobe, and this kid, our church when I grew up in was a bigger church, and he thought it would be funny, as he was walking to go receive his Bible from our head pastor, that he would trip on accident and fall in front of everybody.
Oh my.
And so our youth pastor sends him off, starts reading his name, starts reading what he's doing. He gets halfway to the pastors, trips, falls on his face, gets back up, walks over there, gets his Bible, goes and sits down. Turns out that whole time the pastors thought he did it on accident, like it wasn't on purpose. They found out he did it on purpose. And then it became a tradition every year since
Someone's
then
falls.
that a new kid would
Oh
do
my
it.
gosh.
And
That's
it
awesome.
finally took 3 years, and they said to the seniors, if one of you purposely trips and falls on stage, you will be in a lot of trouble. And so they finally got it to stop.
That's
But man,
amazing.
it was a group of boys, 3 friends that they each graduated a different year, and each year they did it.
That's
And
awesome.
it got progressively and more obvious that they were doing it on purpose because they were terrible actors.
That's hilarious. I love that.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
horrible.
man.
One piece of advice. What do you got, Hannah?
I would just say to any like graduating senior to just keep going and to just follow where the Lord is calling you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to step out into what the Lord is calling you and just go for it.
Mm-hmm. Scott, one piece of advice.
Don't be scared of change.
That's
You're gonna
good.
you're gonna leave high school, or you may even be leaving college. And I'll say this for high school. High school, you're leaving a place where your schedule was almost set for you, and everything you were doing, you were under the household and the protection of your parents. And you're moving into college, and now you have the opportunity to make decisions. I would say go to bed on time. Don't stay up because you think it's cool. It just sucks. Also, I would say for those transitioning out of college, you're going from having your best friends around 2 seconds down the way, opening your door to a group of friends. I would say just know that that's a little harder to maintain in real life. That's a little harder
It is.
to maintain in adulthood. That you move, you find new friends. You may have a hard time finding new friends, but just know that if you stick the course and you follow what God's saying and you keep praying, you keep seeking, He'll bring those people across your path.
Yeah.
That's good.
I would say take it all in, because this goes by in a flash.
That's good.
The 4 years are, in Scott's case, the 8 years it takes you to finish high school.
17.
Or my 3.
High school. I'm kidding. Like, it feels like forever when you're in it, but like, I still remember this day, graduation day from high school, not college, high school. I was like, I can't believe I'm here. And some of these people I went to school since elementary, and I've known them for the past a
crazy.
long time. And it hit me until we sat on. Well, they sat. I was on the platform with the board. Remember when they sat on the floor, and I looked and I
Big shot
realized
over here.
I may never see some of these people ever again. This may be the last time we see each other.
Yeah.
And it's true. A lot of these people I haven't seen in a long time. We're Facebook friends or whatever. But anyway, my piece of advice would be take it in.
Yeah.
You're so quick to be like, gosh, I can't wait to get out of this place. But then you realize, wow, what's the great quote from The Office? You never realize you're in the good old days until
They're already gone.
they're already gone, right?
I would say this along the same lines is I remember the first time that I had to sit in an adult service at church by myself. Being from homeschool kid, you know,
Yep.
I wasn't around a lot of people doing school and stuff like that. But I remember graduating high school and being an adult and sitting in my first service, and it was honestly miserable. There's no fun. There's no exciting game, things you can win.
Oh, like youth service, or
like
whatever.
youth
Yeah.
services. But in that moment, I realized, man, I definitely took for granted the days that I had
Yeah.
in youth.
Yeah,
But I also was like, man, you know, it's time to step up.
yeah.
It's time to be who God's called me to be. And,
Like
you
you
know,
said, transition.
transition and change is okay.
Yeah, they suck sometimes, but
Yes.
it's okay, and
It's
they're
not
very
always fun.
necessary. Yeah,
Yes, very, very necessary.
sweet. So if you're listening and you're graduating, congrats to you.
Shalom.
Congrats.
We're gonna read the places you'll go now. I'm just kidding. We're not gonna. Do that. But anyway, congrats. May the Lord guide your steps. And man, just keep going. Right?
Yeah, don't ever stop learning. Just keep going. Be
Yep.
teachable.
Sweet.
Thanks for watching and listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, add this show to your library. We'd also appreciate a rating and review. Thanks.